everybody. Hope you guys had a great day, or if you're just starting your day, I hope it's the kind of day you deserve, which I hope is a good one. I want to do a very quick video on Jones plugs. And I'm saying this because I've seen more and more games lately that have a bunch of wires cut. Okay, we're looking right now inside the back box of this is actually a Bally Aladdin's Castle, mid-70s, 76 I believe. These games, these pinballs, weren't built in one big piece. They do come apart. Okay, it wasn't carved out of one big block of wood. This is the back box. There's a few, well, several more Jones plugs, usually smaller versions, inside as well. What do? They provide electrical connections from various different parts of the game. If this were one piece, there wouldn't be a need to have a connector. It could just be soldered in place and call it a day. But these things come apart. I could take off the head with the 4 bolts that screw it onto the base of the cabinet. Somehow everything that's in the back box I have to wire to the playfield and the main boards in this case. So that's where these two plug assemblies come from. Jones plug. Yes, Jones like the last name Jones, from Howard P. Jones Manufacturing. They came up with these a long time ago. You won't see too many of them anymore, except in old electromechanical stuff. You know, I could be wrong on that, but I take a lot of stuff apart and I've never seen them in much anything else. If you're going to move your game, take the back box off. You're going to see this wire harness, or several wire harnesses, come up out of the cabinet and attach to the head. Please do not cut these wires. It takes a lot to strip them back, twist them, solder them, everything back together. These come apart. Grab this Bakelite connector here, and if you got to do some prying back and forth, that's it. That's all they do. This is the male end, female end. Okay, there should be some tension. They should not just fall out. We'll push it all the way in until it stops. Okay, this is just an FYI video. Same with this one. Okay, in this case, our head is completely detached now from the base cabinet. Okay? If for some reason they do, this is a Bally. So Bally and Williams are very similar. Gottlieb makes a little bit different style, and then if you get into some of the wood rails, it's an even more different style, but it's the same concept. Most of these you always want to check, but notice these two are different lengths. Okay, this one, will it fit in there? Sure, but you're going to have empty sockets. Will this big one fit in here? Sure, but now you got exposed pins going to nothing. So they're purposely made to fit a specific socket. Okay, if you have to, look at a couple of the colors. As I'm saying that, I got a brown going to yellow over here, so it wouldn't match up. But you take the harness is always wrapped to one side. You take the bare end, and that's what goes up against this stop. You'll see this piece of sharp metal that sticks out. That's the top. And just press into place. Okay, I started talking about tension on the Bally's. If they are tight, you can push in just on this side here. Don't push too hard. They are fragile. They will break. Remember, these things are, most of them are 50 plus years old. And when you're 50, you don't move as well as you used to. If you have to loosen it, you could pry out on it a little bit, but probably don't have to do that. To clean these up, because they will cause problems with the corrosion, you could take some real fine sandpaper and just polish these up. One pin at a time. Is it tedious? Yeah, it can be. So what? Do it and your game will be happy, making you happy. Or you can do a wire wheel and Dremel. Get all the way around. Get up in there good. You can do that for each set of pins. Sometimes the wire wheel is faster, sometimes it's more trouble than what it's worth. This side, I usually run a wheel just over the outside. Get the oxidation off of there. Doesn't take much. And then I will take I don't have it with me, but I will take a small bore brush, clean in there, or I have another one that's about the same size as these pins. It's got a little loop-de-loop on the end for your finger to hang it up, but I cut that off. I'll put it in my Dremel. I don't go nuts with it, just enough to scrape some of that off of there. When you get those all done, put your plug back in, make sure it's tight. You don't want to, you should have to take a little bit of effort to get that in and out of there. Like that one, that one's good. But we're going to get these all cleaned up, put it back together. What else do they do? They provide that electrical connection. So you'll find a lot of weird problems, and a lot of people don't think to check the Jones plugs because, oh, well, it's working. Yeah, but it isn't. That's why you're watching this video. Check your solder connections. You know, make sure you don't have broken or any type of frayed or pinched wires. Look at these little sets of Jones plugs. These are either or, because these, unlike something with a circuit board that you can program, these games have different features on them as well. So right here on the wall, the one on the right is your high score feature. Do you want it to give a credit, or do you want it to give an extra ball? Credit, this side where it's at, you get a high score. Do you want that, or do you want it to give you an extra ball, like that? We'll go for credit. The match feature, do you want it on or off? What that means is at the end of the game, there's a number at the top that's turned off. There's a row of numbers usually on the top of the back glass that are turned off until the end of your game. And once you hit the end of the game, if you're the last, usually last one or two of your score match that random number, then you'll get a credit or a free game. This set here, notice there's nothing plugged in right now. This is your high score adjustment. So each one of these wires has let's say a 10,000s value, and each one of these is a thousands value. So I'll just give you a quick example. We're not going to go through all of it just yet. So let's say I want a high score on this before I get a credit or an extra ball, remember we just set that there, I would find the black wire, which is 71,000 to 80,000. So I got a 9,000 point difference there. Let's say I want it to be 72,000 points. Okay, so I'm going to find my black wire, which would be stuck in the wood here, because last I know wood doesn't really conduct electricity, so it can be in there. So I have a single Jones plug, the male end, on the black wire. Now you look at this chart. From the top, this little extra square, this little divot here, it's just a key. That represents the metal sharp prong that, if you're not careful, will cut you. That represents the top. So along the left side you got 1,000, 2,000. So this is your 71,000 points. If I wanted it right at 70,000, I would put it down here in the 0. If I want 72,000, I could be saying that wrong. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. So 70, there's no hundreds place. So if I put that in the 0, it's going to be 80,000. If I put it up here, I remember I said I wanted a high score of 72,000. We're going to take that black wire. We're going to put that in the 2000s place. See how that's pretty loose? We don't want that. I'm going to push that in a little bit. And pop that in there. That's better. I mean, if you wanted, you could put all these wires in. So you got a bunch of different scores that you could set. So right now I'll get my first credit if I hit 72,000. Now let's say I want to hit 98,000. So right before you get the 100,000. I'm going to look for the red wire. Here's a red. And because that's my 91 to 100,000. And I said, what, 98? So look on the right side, third one down. We'll put that right there. So right now, I would get a credit for a score of 72,000, and I'll also get a credit for 98,000. So I would get those, I would get a score on that. I could keep plugging those in if I want, or you can leave it out and not give anything. It is kind of rewarding, even though it's a home game. I could set it for extra ball, but I still like to hear the knocker. So that's all I got on the Jones plugs for right now. We may have to take a look into some other stuff about it later. I just wanted you to be aware, so if you're thinking about working on a pinball machine or you have to move it, please don't cut these wires. Please. It just makes it harder for you and makes it harder for the next guy. Isn't that a whole lot easier than trying to tape, wire, wire nut, solder, all that stuff back together? That's so much easier. Just do it right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks, I appreciate the time, and I hope you like this type of stuff. If you do, please consider subscribing. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of sarcasm along the way. But just know that you guys are appreciated, and I love making these videos for you. So trying to preserve all these old games. I wish I could save them all. All right, everybody. I will hopefully see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.